Okay, good evening, everyone. Hopefully you are able to see screen.
Hey, Amar, yes, we are able to see.
Great. Thanks for confirming, Radhe. So in today's demo, we are going to talk about cybersecurity, and we will see some example of how hacker or ethical hacker do the penetration testing for a specific application and what method they follow. Okay, so if I talk about cybersecurity terms, okay, before going to the cybersecurity, just wanted to know about the participant who are here, that what is the purpose of joining this particular demo and what do you want to achieve from this particular course. So yes, if you can just give a quick intro about you and the purpose of joining this particular course, then we can go and continue the course. So I would start from Amrish. Amrish.
Hi. I'm just looking for because I'm currently having the course or training from Radhe regarding security as well. So of course, cyber security is also part of security. And I'm where I'm working or what is my project in IBM is like it's online selling kind of. It's Oriflame. So of course it is a part because we have n number of web portals and we do online selling and kind of those things. So of course it will help me.
Yeah,
in
sure.
security.
Sure. Thanks, Amrish. Riyash.
Hi, I'm currently working in network security field. So I was thinking to switch my career to cyber security because it has much career chance opportunities all around the world. So I was just trying to switch to the cyber security. So I thought this class will help me to understand how cyber security works and
Definitely.
what are our daily jobs in cyber security field.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
Shishir.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Shishir, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Actually, I'm from Bangladesh, Dhaka, and I have worked on basically networking, especially on IP phone to manageable S3 box. And after that, actually, I had to join for my survival purpose. Actually, I had to join in a institution, and I'm working over there as a ICT teacher for 11th and 12th grade. But right now, actually, I'm thinking to switch my career if it will be I'll be able to switch my career in security, cyber security.
Sure. Great. So great idea, audience, all our experience. So let me just introduce myself. So my name is Zama, and I'm in this cybersecurity field since you can say it's 8 years now, and overall I have experience. It is 15 years. So I have experience on network side, cloud side, firewall side, load balancer, and this cyber security field. Okay, so here I'm associated with Netminion, and it is a strong bond now. It's a 5-year. Okay, so here I'm taking the classes for different technology, and cyber security is one of them. So let's talk about cyber security. So cyber security, what is the cyber security and why it is important nowadays? So you know that nowadays we are doing all type of transaction, which is basically network, internet, and computer are involved on that. Okay, and you know that since this is now a trending technology, that's why there are different threats on this. Okay, so cyber security is really important to mitigate those threats or to protect the network, computer system, or any peripheral device from these kind of threats. So we have threats for for being our system gets compromised, or threats for information leakage, or there are different level threats in this cyber world. So to secure all those threats, to protect against from all those threats, we have cyber security. Okay. So if you know the cyber security, that means you know about the threats, what could be impact of those threats, okay, what could be the risk, all those things is a part of cyber security. Okay, so it is including all the practice to keeping the technology safe, whether that is computer or electronic data. Okay, that's all covered in the cyber security. Now, if you are knowing about the cyber security, it is first step to protecting yourself from the cyber attack and your organization from the cyber attacks. Okay, so that's all covered in the cyber security. Now I would go to next slide, and I would talk about the hacker and cracker who are usually involved in the cracking the security, right? So we will talk about them. So what is a hacking? So basically, getting into the system network using using unauthorized method to gain the access of sensitive information or the devices. That act known as a hacking. So we could have a different types of audience who is doing these kind of act. One is the hacker and other is a cracker. Usually we understood that hacker is the person who is doing a malicious kind of system, but in the cyber security world, this is considered in a different way. So hacker are the person who is technically skilled and professional, okay, and also he would be capable to scan the vulnerability. Vulnerability means weakness into the system, okay. Whatever the vulnerabilities would be in the system, network, architecture, he would be able to scan. Usually the hacker do not have any malicious instances, okay, intentions for the hacking, and the hacking would be done by the hacker by the productive cause. So I'm talking about the hacker, those kind of hacker which is white hat hacker or which is gray hat hacker. Basically they take the permission from the organization and they do try to scan their network, and they try to find the vulnerability, they try to exploit those vulnerability. Okay, so vulnerability finding is a one thing and exploitation is a another thing, right? So that hacker usually involved on that, right? There are cracker which is known as a black hat hacker as well. So basically black hat hacker or cracker, they are also technically skilled. They also able to scan the vulnerabilities, okay, of the network, of the system, of the architecture. They would be able to scan those vulnerability, and they would have a malicious intention. They might scan the vulnerability, they might damage the network, they might steal the information, they might sell that. So they have the malicious intention, okay, and they do the cracking for the, whether that for fun or damaging the system, or maybe they are financially motivated. Okay, moving to next. What is ethical hacking? So you might have heard about ethical hacker, and which I would promote you to be that. Okay, ethical hacker. So ethical hacker is a skilled professional who hacks into the system or network to scan the pitfalls or vulnerabilities and probable target to that a cracker might exploit. Okay, so that's what the ethical hacker does basically. Ethical hacking would help to maintain the privacy and full control. So if there is any weakness in the system found by the ethical hacker, basically they are going to recommend that these are the weakness, and in this way you can put the countermeasure for the weakness. So that's what ethical hacking does, and it helps you to find out the system flaw by avoiding leaking sensitive information to the cracker. And since computers are getting accessible to more and more by the people, ethical hacking will help to maintain the strength in those computer security, right? So that's what the ethical hacker does. Any question?
For now, nothing, but just let's proceed.
Sorry, Shishir, your voice is breaking.
I'm telling for now it's fine. I mean,
Okay,
I
okay.
just got it properly, and let's just go ahead. Maybe we can just get some more ideas, and also, actually, okay, let's go proceed. Thank you.
Sure. So for if you want to become a hacker or maybe ethical hacker, so what the skill sets you required? You must having the idea of the network protocol. For example, how HTTP is working, how HTTPS is working, how TCP is working. So all these idea you should have, okay? Or you should have an idea of all the OSI layers, okay? So that you would be able to understand that how network is basically functioning. You should have the idea about the authentication technique, whether that could be single sign authentication, password based authentication, multi-factor authentication, okay, or just username and password based authentication. So you must have an idea about that, how authentication technique is working from Active Directory to the local database. Then you should know knowing the firewall architecture and port, etc. Okay, so how firewall is working, how it is filtering the port, what is next generation firewall, what is the capabilities on the next generation firewall, how it can prevent against whatever the payload you would be sending towards the target. So basically, if there would be firewall, so it can block that. So you should knowing that how you can bypass the firewall. I mean, then you should have an idea about the firewall. You should have the idea about the network architecture. So basically, in any organization, there could be three types of architecture. They would be dividing: internal, external, and DMZ. And there are other division, that's core network, access layer network, and distribution layer network. You should understand that. You should understand the web server configuration. That means you should be knowing that how web server is working, what is Apache, what is IIS, what is Tomcat, how these are functioning. And you also know that web application architecture, what is front end, what is back end, what is the databases, etc. That you should know. And you should also be knowing about the hacking if you want to be a successful ethical hacker or hacker. So you should be knowing about the other language, scripting language such as HTML, JavaScript, Python, Ruby, etc. and shell scripting. Okay, that is not a limited things. There are could be other requirement that could be you should be knowing. For example, we haven't talked about cloud application. Okay, so if there is any application hosted on the cloud, you should have the idea about the how cloud is working, how it is filtering, right? So these are the skill sets that required for any ethical hacker, okay, to be a successful hacker. Moving to next, there are different type of tool is being used for hacking, and those tools could be vulnerability scanner. So vulnerability scanner, like we have Nessus, Nexpose, okay. These are the vulnerability scanner tool that could be used for the vulnerability finding, okay. Once vulnerability will get finds, okay, so exploit you need to be created. So there are tools for vulnerability scanner, there are tools for password cracking, there are tools for packet sniffer. Packet sniffer basically packet capturing tools. Wireshark is one of the example of that. There are tools for the web scanner. So when I say web scanner, so if there is any website is vulnerable and you want to find that on which point that website is vulnerable, so there are web scanner tool that is used for the scanning entire web, okay, website. And if it is found the vulnerability at a particular point, it is going to let you know that this is the vulnerability, and then you need to think about that how you can exploit that. Okay, so there are different tools that you can use for the ethical hacking or hacking, I would say. Okay, now moving to next one. If I talk about hacking phases, so there are 5 phases for hacking usually, and those 5 phases are: first phase is reconnaissance. So basically here we are doing kind of information gathering about the target. So let's say there is a target. Let's say someone want to find the vulnerability or weakness in a Wipro website, wipro.com. So first of all, we will do reconnaissance. Reconnaissance means we will try to get the information about this website, okay, that whatever the information I can gather, maximum information I can gather about this website. So for example, I would try to find that what all the technology has been used to develop this website, on which particular port this website is working, okay. All these information I would try to gain, okay, where this website is hosted, when this website was hosted, whether this was had earlier or not, so that I would get idea that there could be vulnerability around this. Okay, so in reconnaissance, what we are going to do information gathering. Then we are doing scanning. When we gain the information, now we will target to that there could be the information which I have gathered, whether there could be some information could be true and some information could be false. Okay, so what I would do, I would just validate that using this scanning information. So now I would try to scan this website. Okay, so maybe using any web scanner, I would try to scan this website so that I would know that on which particular port it is working, whether it is working on port 43 or this is working on port number 80, and what could be the sensitive page, etc. Sensitive page, that means every website has a control panel. So maybe I would try to get the control panel page, okay, during the scanning. Once I get some scanning, I got some vulnerability on this website, I would try to gain the access. Here, actually hacking would happen. Hacking means basically I would try to exploit those vulnerability if I found something. Okay, once scanning, once I get the access, to maintain that access, what I would do, I would try to create a backdoor over here so that I would be able to maintain the access. When I say backdoor, that means if someone patched the website from the backdoor or from the persistence script, I should be able to access that website again. I don't need to do all those phases again and again. Okay, so for that I would create some persistence access to hack this website, to access that website. And once my purpose gets solved, okay, so what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to covering the tracks. That means I'm just going to delete all the logs so that nobody can catch me. Okay, so that's what hacker does basically. They are doing the hacking in these 5 pages. Okay, reconnaissance, so scanning, gaining the access, maintaining the access, and covering the tracks. That's what the hacker does basically. Right, so let's say you got a job to do the penetration testing. So might be the organization which give you job for penetration testing, there are so many companies now are in this field. You can take the example of one of the company, EY, you might be knowing. They are providing the cybersecurity consultancy, and organization are hiring them. Okay, so they get the job for these kind of tasks. Either they get the job for vulnerability scanning against any particular website. So let's say my website is hcl.com. So my company has given them a contract to scan all those vulnerability, but not to hack them. Okay, so there would be NDA signed between HCL and EY, and EY would start vulnerability scanning. Okay, there might be that company is going one step ahead, do the vulnerability scanning and do the penetration testing. Okay, so they would ask them to do the penetration testing. In a penetration testing, what they would do, they would try to find the vulnerability, and then they would try to penetrate those websites against the found vulnerabilities. So that is a penetration testing. And once they would be able to penetrate the website, they are going to publish a report that based on these parameters, the website is vulnerable. So SCL would take the action to patch their website. Okay, so maybe they would say that certificate is invalid, okay, or certificate key are, weak. I mean, there could be any kind of, vulnerability against which the hacker could hack, do the penetration testing.
I have a query, please. That is for Linux, there are like different examination, like vendor examination. So for cyber security, is there this kind of examination which is like which are, I mean, worldwide renowned? So it will be better for like to getting in a job like in overseas or something like that in any company.
Yeah, basically, yes. If you know all these steps, definitely you can apply for the job for maybe penetration testing, or maybe application tester. So penetration testing, who would be doing the penetration on against network, against website. A network tester would be which would be doing the penetration testing against the network, okay, to check whether company network secure or not. Yes, you can apply for this kind of job. Any other question, anyone?
No, this
Not
is
really.
separate job, like vulnerability scanning or penetration testing is separate job.
Yes, these are the separate job. Vulnerability scanning could be internal as well, where you would be doing the scanning of network device, maybe server, that would be going to introduce into your organization. Okay, or maybe you would be doing the vulnerability testing for the web application. Any new application is being launched by your organization, whether that would be based on the phone basis, mobile basis, maybe web basis, or maybe that is desktop based. So you would be doing the vulnerability testing for those application as well.
Okay, but there will be application, right? So to do this one, just want to do the tool only, learn the tool only for this
Yeah,
vulnerability
you
testing.
would be using a tool only to do the these kind of testing. Okay, but those tools, I mean, there are two types of testing you can do. Either you can do a tool based, or you can do the manual basis as well. Sometimes tools detect a false positive, and tools may ignore that because tools has a limited set of command that can be set for a particular scenario, right? But
Yeah.
if you have idea, I mean, post the tool based testing, organization also run manual testing. So wherever they would found false positive, they would try to do a manual testing over there. So it's a completely depend on the organization policy, that how organization created their policy. It's a totally depend on the management level. So if the management would try to ignore that, okay, this tool could be false positive, let's ignore these kind of thing. Okay, so that can be ignored. But usually the any banking or any financial organization, they do two types of testing. One is a tool based and other is a manual testing. They
So
both
you will be talking about this tool, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about tools. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Almost so like you will be like here it will be a network internal tester, application like web app or Android iOS. How we should go and how we should aim for.
Sorry, your voice is a little bit breaking for me. Can you come again?
Yeah, is it good now?
Yeah, it's good now.
So I was asking like when we are planning for a career in PT, like what should we aim for? Like a network penetration tester or a web app or like Android or iOS? Which should we aim for and how should we progress on that?
I think each have different scope, and definitely web-based penetration tester has a more scope nowadays.
Like web application, whatever
Yes.
we do on the website, all those things have the more carrier scope.
Correct. More career scope I have seen. Okay. Because usually a web is fully accessible from the outside, right? And that's why there are more chances from apart from tool based to the manual testing there. But if I talk about any other thing, web and application testing, like mobile application testing, is the one where there is a more scope.
And like the person who is working on SOC, like SOC profile,
Yeah.
like does he have a more advantage than another regular guy who don't have any experience on SOC? Like he knows.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. If you are working on a SOC, so definitely you are able to understand different types of attack. Let's talk about DDoS attack. Okay, so you know that. Let's talk about SQL attack. You know that, right? So the person who is already working on a security profile, okay, SOC profile, so definitely they have the more understanding. They would be able to understand more security terms in comparison to other person. Yes, so definitely there is a benefit who is working on this SOC profile.
okay. And like one last story, like devs, SecOps, do you know what is it? Like, is it different from all these things or what? Like,
Yeah, this is this is a little difference than other things. When I talk about dev and SecOps, so basically security while initial development of the application, right? So that's come under the DevSecOps. So
So
usually
do we need a coding experience for this web application testing?
I mean, not full experience you should know, but yes, a few terms you should understand. At least basic understanding of the security you should have. As I told you that you should be able to understand basic terms. So I can say probably a WASP top 10 you should be able to understand. The WASP
I
top,
was asking about the software development for the application testing.
No, software development experience is not required, but yes, few technology you should know. For example, front end and back end you should know. I know many people who is not from the development career, but they are now doing very good in terms of penetration testing.
Okay,
and for web PC, like which language you recommend to start with, like JavaScript or Python, or like what should you recommend to start?
I mean, if you have knowledge about JavaScript, Python, it's good. Okay. But if I talk about for penetration testing, you should have the knowledge of Python script, because most of the tool, if you just want to customize the query that is on the tool, basically penetration testing tool, you would see that mostly Python based. So if you want to customize those queries, so definitely you would be doing on the Python. So if you have idea about the Python, that's good. Okay, but if you know Python plus other language like JavaScript, HTML, that means that is adding the additional advantages.
Mr. Amar, I have a query. That is maybe the course actually we are going to learn.
Yeah, sure. So I would go for course over here. Let me
Yeah,
just
man.
go. So you know that these are the hacking phases. Now I would talk about the certification that is going to give you knowledge about these kind of cyber security. So you can go for the Security Plus, is one of the basic certification. Okay. Apart from Security Plus, you can go for CEH, that is Certified Ethical Hacker. So here you would be also learning a lot of things. Okay, in Security Plus, you would be learning some fundamental of the security, and in CH, you would be learning some penetration testing and fundamental of the security, both. You can go, and these are the higher certification. You can go for CISM. Okay, this is one of the good certification. This is for management level. So if you want to go on the management level in the security, so you can go for CISM. or CISSP. These are the great certification, especially I would say CISSP, CISP. Okay, this is known as a Certified Information Security System Security Professional. These are the great certification that you can achieve in this field. Okay, now I would talk about our course content, what we are going to cover. So in this course, this cybersecurity course, so we are going to cover from basic to advanced level. Okay, so we are going to cover introduction to cybersecurity, fundamental of cybersecurity, threat, attacks, mitigation. These are the security terminology that we are going to cover. Okay, and how you are going to measure the threats, etc., and what would be the maximum risk. Okay, all those formula we are going to talk about here. We are going to talk about security policies and procedure. In each organization, there was a security policy and procedure. If you are already working in the organization, you would be knowing that whenever you just want to assign some password for your device, then what should be the password policy? When you want to access the network, then what should be the network policy? So that would be defined over here. Okay, in the security policy and procedure. Then we are going to talk about cyber mitigation method. So if there is any loop in your network, okay, so what the approach you should follow? What should be the secure architecture? So if you are designing the network, so what should be the secure architecture? If you are developing the software, so what should be the secure architecture for develop the software? So we are going to talk about network level, we are going to talk about application level, and we are going to talk about platform level, the secure architecture, what should be the secure architecture. Then we are going to talk about wireless network and its security. What could be the network security controls, okay, that you can put. So here we are going to talk about a bit about NAC, okay, network access controller. Then we are going to talk about cloud virtualization and VYO device and IoT security, that how you can secure the cloud, how you can secure the virtualization layer. VYOD device, that's bring your own device. So company are allowing to bring your own device in the organization. So how you can secure the organization if you are connecting your BYOD device to the organization network and maybe your device is infected by the virus. Okay, so what should be the policy for that? We are going to talk about that. And then we are going to talk about IoT device, which is very famous nowadays. Okay, so how you can secure them. We will talk about security testing also, and we will also discuss about information security and governance, that what is the information security and what is the governance model of that. Okay, so and then we are going to talk about risk management. So each company there is a risk. Okay, so how they are managing the risk. So we are going to talk about the risk, and we are going to talk about the security programs. So for example, company run the testing sometimes, okay, to make the user aware. So what are the security programs can be run, and developing an incident and management response system. So basically there is a incident management team which would be following some security parameter whenever any incident happen. When I say incident happen, so let's take example, let's say your organization computer got infected or got hacked, then how you should manage these incident and how you should respond. Okay, so we are going to talk about real scenario over here, because I was the one who was involved in the WannaCry attack. Okay, and at that time I was leading the incident management team. So we are going to talk about real scenario over here. Then we are going to talk about digital forensic. Okay, and finally we are going to talk about business continuity and disaster recovery because of any security incident. Any questions so far? So this is our course in the cyber security. All these things we are going to teach. Okay, so this course is it is customized as a CH, not it is customized as a security plus, but this is the combination of all these certification that we talked earlier. Okay, so we have covered 10% from all these certification and design these things so that you would be able to understand at least initial level of the security.
How long it may take to learn this content?
So this content is 1.5 months. Basically, this is 30 hours.
And time?
Time you can confirm to our coordinator. We are going to cover the mostly classes on the weekend. Okay, so on each weekend there is 2 days, so we are going to cover 4 hours on both days. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some live demo that you can see. So what I have done, I have used one of the application. This can be used for testing DVWA. This is damn vulnerable web application. So I have downloaded this application from the GitHub. Okay, and I have set up this application so that I can show you demo. So I'm going to show you one demo regarding the SQL injection. So you can see there are different types of attacks over here. Okay, and if you just want to test any kind of attack, basically these are basically web based, but don't worry, we are going to talk about later in the classes. We are going to talk about network based attack. So what I'm just going to show you, if I just want to log in this system, okay, and try to generate some attack, whether that would be happening or not happening. So you can see here we have the brute force is one of the attack, where I would try to put username, maybe a username I'm putting Pablo, and password I'm putting like password. Okay, so you can see right now this is showing that username and password is incorrect. So what I would do, using some SQL injection, I would inject the database and I would get the password for this user, okay, which is Pablo. I would get the password for this user, and later once I get the password, I would try to put over here, and I would see that whether that password is getting successful or not. Okay, so let's go to SQL injection part, where I can put the user ID and I can get the username over here. You can see for username admin, the user ID is one defined. If I put 2, I would be able to see the second username. For third user, I'm able to see. For fourth user, I'm putting the ID over here, and I'm able to get his name and his surname. For fifth number user, I'm putting the ID over here, and I'm getting these things. So can you imagine what would be configured on the back end? Can you think of what should be configured on the back end based on which I'm getting all these information?
SQL Server.
Yeah, SQL Server is configured. And for SQL Server, there should be some query is configured, right? Basically, if you know the SQL, so you might be knowing the query. There could be some query is configured, and that query I'm going to write over here. Maybe when I'm putting the user ID, maybe query which is going to the SQL Server database, the query is going like this. Select first name, comma last name. This is surname, right? So first name, comma surname from a table. There could be any table where this data could be stored. So I don't know table name. So I'm putting like this, a table. Where ID equal to XYZ. One. So maybe this query is going on the back end, right? When I'm putting the ID over here, 1. Sorry. When I'm putting 1 over here, maybe this is going there, and just from a particular table, it is putting that thing. Okay, what I'm just going to trying to do, I just want to know that the table from where this data is coming, how many columns are there? Okay, So I would try to put some injection, SQL injection. Can you think if I try to modify this query in this way? Okay, for let's say I just want to do some injection. I just want to inject this database. I just want to inject this database SQL. Okay, so for injection, there are 3 rules. Number 1, if you want to inject any SQL, so do the inject, first inject it. Okay, then balance it, and third is comment it. So now I just want to inject it. What I just want to do, where ID equal to 1, I'm trying to inject it. Over here, I just want to send some injection. So what injection I'm trying to do, I just want to send this information. I just want to put or I'm just putting like this way. So this is what, this is an injection. So what if I'm trying to do, in front of, instead of 1, I'm putting what, over here I'm putting this type of 1. I'm trying to do inject. So whether inject would be sufficient or not, let's check over here. I'm trying to inject it using this way. Let's do some inject over here. So as soon as I have sent the injector, over here you can see that my database is sending some kind of error. And if database is sending this kind of error, that means what? My application is not made to handling the error. Okay, it is not able to handle the error. Now I understood that this is completely injectable. Just I need to, I need to put right injection. So what right injection I am putting over here? I'm not going to take more time. I'm putting this injection, this kind of injection. I am putting whether ID equal to 1 or sorry. I'm putting whether ID equal to 1 or I'm putting ID equal to 1 and then I'm putting this or 1 equal to 1. So any condition could be true, whether ID equal to 1 or 1 equal to 1. Okay, so let's say I'm putting wrong ID, but this is correct one, 1 equal to 1. This is universal true, right? And then I would comment it. I would comment it. If I would send the comment, by default, the comment would happen over here. So I can comment it using hash or using this hyphen. Okay. So now I would be able to inject my database. You would see here. If I put this and try to submit, I'm able to inject it. You can see that this is showing the all of the ID, whatever in that particular table, it would be able to show all the information. But what I required a password, not the surname. I'm able to see all the username and their first name, but I required a password. So what I would do, I would try to know that how many columns are there. Okay, so basically you can see that I'm able to get first name and surname. So by default, there would be 2 columns in this. Okay, that I'm able to know. So what I'm going to put the another command using which I can get the password as well. Okay, so let me just try to get that. So I'm putting this command and I'm putting union select. Union select is what? This is for AND condition in the SQL databases. Okay, so union select is a command which would be able to combine the data and would be able to show me complete result. So I'm putting union select over here. Union select user User is a table name for a user. And I just want to know their password as well. From which table? From users table. And I would try to submit it. Okay, it's not working. Let me just modify my injection. It was a syntax error. You can see as soon as I put that command, I'm able to get the username and their password, but password is in hash format. Okay, so let's understand. This seems to MD5 hash because this is really small. So for which user we had decided to get the password? For Pablo. So what if I try to username Pablo and this password, whether this is working or not? Let's go here on brute force, try to use Pablo and try to put this password, try to log in. No, this is not matching. That means we need to crack this password. So I would go online tool. I would try to get the password over here. Any MD5 decryptor. Usually these are very simple password. Maybe I can try this one. I would put that hash and try to decrypt it. Sorry. Okay, try to decrypt it. What is the password? Let me in. This is the password. What if I try to put this password? Username Pablo, password let me in, login. As you can see, this is showing that welcome to password protected area Pablo. Earlier it was giving the password error, but now I have cracked this. Okay, so I mean to say that if your application is vulnerable, okay, so you for SQL injection, SQL injection is one of the killer vulnerability, right? So you know all the data can be exploited. If there is any SQL injection, so definitely a complete database can be exploited. Okay, I hope you got it. That's all I had for this demo. And if there is any question, you can put your question. No questions so far? So don't worry, we are going to see. I can't show you, live right now because to do the live there is some limitation. First, we need to take the permission where we are going to test all these things. That's why this has been set up on my system for this particular application. And yes, for demo purpose, I have used this. But similarly, you can use for the organization website, but for that you should take the permission from them. Okay, any further question? If there is no question, we can stop here. All right, so I'm stopping here and handing over to Radhe. Radhe, would you like to say something before closing this session? All right, guys. So no further question. I'm just going to stop here. And thanks for joining this. If there is anything further, you can come to us always. You can go to our website. You can connect to us. So you can visit our website, definitely there. And if you have any question, you can post there. Netminion.net is our website. Over you can see we have multiple courses. And if you want to connect us at any time, you can just click on WhatsApp button and you can reach to us using this. We have online chat also. From here, you can put your information or query and you can reach to us. you.